Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Trendy with Kim Allison. And today I am thrilled to introduce to you guys Soren Roy, a talented barber based in New York City. Soren is known for his fun and creative videos, and his clientele ranges from quirky and tatted to everyday people looking for a clean look. And I am still working on my intros, you guys. So bear with me. I will get better.
That was great.
Obviously, I'm reading from the paper. We'll be diving into Soren's journey, his unique approach to barbering, and what inspires his creativity. So let's get inspired, everybody. Welcome to the show, Soren.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for accepting my invitation because some people don't. And I'm still trying to put my ego and pride aside. But I'm like, y'all don't know me. I get it, but you will. Trust me. Trust and believe. And I don't forget. That's the other part about me. I remember those who support me.
Of
All
course.
righty, Soren, let's get into you because this is not about me. This is about you. So, how did you let's talk a little bit about your background and what inspired you. Like how long have you been in the business? Like how did you get into barbering?
Yeah. Um it's been like the longer I cut hair, the more I realize I've really been cutting hair really for my whole life when it comes to my own hair. I was definitely the type of kid I would go to the barber shop. I always had when I was younger I had very straight hair and I had kind of like a bowl cut. It was always a little longer. And I was the type of kid I'd go to the barber shop, I'd get it cut. I would be so upset with it. I would go home, lock myself in the bathroom, and start fixing it. And I have like these memories of it.
How old were
Um,
you about when all this is taking place? Are you a little kid or maybe getting ready
yeah,
to where you care?
elementary school, you know. And then and I even then in elementary school I was very expressive with my hair. You know, I'm 35. Things were a little different back then. Like when I first bleached my hair in elementary school with like sun in, like that
Oh yeah.
stuff. You would spray it in your hair and go out in the sun and it would lighten your hair. And I, over the summer, put some in my hair and came back to school and it was like, you'd think I'd have gotten a tattoo on my face or something. It was just so shocking to everybody
Everybody
around.
was like, "That's so wild. Whoa."
Yeah, and truthfully, I got made fun of a lot for having even being a boy with like longer hair, in elementary school, and then continuing to I was always into hair. I remember for my birthday one year again in elementary school, I got like highlights in my hair. Like my mom took me to like the salon, and I got highlights and it was something too that was like yeah, back then. I mean, now I got kids coming in my chair, they're getting perms, they're getting highlights, they're doing all this stuff, but it was yeah, it was very like shocking to, I guess, kids around me in that kind of that's for girls or something. Well, what
Oh
is this
yeah,
kind of thing?
absolutely. Yeah, we
Which
were a lot less open-minded back
yeah,
then.
yeah. um and it got to the point that in middle school I remember I got made fun of a lot. It was really, and it was something that I guess I felt very attached to my hair. I felt very attached to doing things with it, and I then one day I shaved my head. I think I went to the barber shop and I shaved my head, and I came back to school. It was kind of like this big like screw you, because people call me a girl, and I came back to school. And at the time, this movie G.I. Jane had just come out, so it's like where this woman shaves her head and she's in the I think the Navy SEALs, famous movie. So I came back to school like kind of like screw you guys. I shaved my head. Like you don't have, you can't call me a girl anymore. You can't do this. And then it was like, oh, G.I. Jane, and it kind of like just continued. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like I've always been into hair. I've always had some attachment, I guess, to my own hair, and I've always been experimenting with my hair and my physical appearance and how I don't know, I guess like how that other people react to it in a sense, you know. And I've always been, from a young age, been aware of how, you know, both how you can get a response from it and how you can't. You know, it's like I
Yep.
shaved my head, and people still, you know.
So now it makes sense when I watch your videos. It all makes sense. Just be a hairdresser. It is, you're an artist, and it's about expression, and it starts with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I totally get that. Do you have anyone that inspires you in the industry? Is there someone that you saw, or have you kind of just been beating to your own drum?
Um, I definitely I've definitely had people along the way who have helped me. Um, I don't know if within the hair industry I've had any big, like, shining star role models, but I've definitely had people along the way who helped me, whether it was in, you know, my friend James, who he went to barbering school and then was like, yeah, come do it.
Yeah.
Or this guy Francis, who was the first person at a barbershop to ever, uh, you know, kind of take me in at a shop and say, I'll, you know, watch me cut. I'll, you know, here, do the front desk. I'll teach you this. I'll teach you this. To then, you know, people like my friend Hung, who then kind of did the same thing with teaching and got me in on teaching. And then, you know, the people that I worked with who continued to yeah, like, motivate me and, you know, inspire me. I've worked within a company for a long time. Most of my career has been with a company called Fellow Barber.
Hmm.
Um, and
Who
what
are they? Are they a brand, or is it an
Yeah, they're a
uh
brand. They're a I don't know. I never know what the
is
word
it
is.
like a hair product, or is it more of a
Yeah, they're a chain of barbershops.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Ah, is that
and
East Coast based?
so
I don't think I've
we have we started in the East Coast. We have, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 shops in New York, maybe another like 5 in California.
oh,
Um, yeah.
I'm in Arizona.
Okay, yeah. So none in Arizona. For a minute, we
Yeah.
were partnered with Rudy's. Do you know Rudy's? I know they have some in Arizona.
Yeah, I do know that one, and I know Floyd's.
Okay, yes, but so we were, for a minute we were partnered with them, but you could say maybe comparable in some ways. You know, higher end barber services, I guess you could say. But
Yeah, and I think barbering too, it's really come a long way, because it was kind of buried, if you will, underneath hairdressing, or hairdressers who do, you know, typical women's
yeah,
hair. And now men, they are bringing it. I mean, men's styles now are intricate in a
yeah,
way that even me as a stylist, I started my career with Tony and Guy, and I
mm,
certainly learned how to cut men's hair, but we were not allowed to use clippers. That was more like cheating, they called it. And so I never really perfected that clipper work, which now that I see, the way you're using clippers is very different than how they used them back then. Back then,
mm,
it was like number one, number two, number three, and that's your blend kind of deal. But
yeah,
now I think you're incorporating clipper work and scissor work, and I think it's pretty incredible. It's fun to see, actually.
yeah. So I agree that I think currently the barbering industry, and it is one of these things because it's not really so much, and as you'll even, you know, bring up some of my videos, you'll see it's not men and women anymore, right? It's
Right.
not that barbering services are for men and salon services are for women. Um,
Absolutely.
but there is a distinction between short hair and long hair,
Yes.
and hair reacts very differently at shorter lengths than it does longer lengths. And to me, that's what the big difference is
Hmm.
between, you know, uh, barbering and cosmetology, I guess you could say, is that at shorter lengths, hair is very stiff. It gets bristly. It gets, you know, just like that feeling when you buzz
Good
your head.
point.
And
Yes.
so as a barber, we're working in this, how do I say this length range that is very reactive. Meaning, if you're cutting somebody who has long hair, and you cut 2 inches off their hair, the actual nature of the hair, it's generally the same hair. It's taking the same shape, right? I mean, obviously, add a little volume, sure, but in barbering, if you cut 2 inches of somebody's hair off, their hair is now, the whole thing is much lighter. You've removed a larger percentage, right?
For
And
sure.
every follicle of hair starts to raise up more, and because of that, I think that's why precision barbering is such a big thing now, because at these shorter lengths, in my opinion, inconsistencies are just much clearer. They're really in your
Agreed.
face.
Agreed.
And so that's why, precision cutting started with Sassoon. So it started in the, cosmetology world, but it seems to have really found a new life in barbering because of the precision that is required, and the way that I think barbering and hair at shorter lengths showcases precision. That's really the thing.
True. And I love the way you broke that down. And I love all the things that I'm learning through all of these amazing stylists that come on the show. I literally, on my deep dive on your Instagram, I was not only entertained, but I was impressed just by your skill set. Like you actually know what you're doing. I'm very passionate about new professionals coming into the industry because one, they're trying to deregulate our licensing as is. And so if we don't take this profession and keep it a profession, then we're going to lose our whole industry. And so they are not learning the way we learned. They're learning solely online by watching instead of actually going in hands-on and learning. And I mean, I can't preach it hard enough, long enough that you got to actually learn the skill. With your creative process, for one, what's your favorite product line? Like, what are you using behind the chair that you love? Just real quick, and then we'll get into your work.
Yeah. Right now, I love Statement is a brand who I've just kind of really fallen in love with, just from their products to I saw them do a lot of work recently at the Connecticut Barber Expo, and their team was just really amazing, and just everything they did was very cool. So I'm really liking Statement. And then the Fellow Barber, the company that I work for, has a product brand as well.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's what I've been trying to, I'm always learning more about products. I'm always learning more about styling. Coming from a barbering background, that was one of the last elements that I started to incorporate into my work, really. It really was like the cherry on top. One that, truthfully, I never really even delved into, or had much of a necessity to delve into until I started putting my work on social media.
Yes. Because then you see your work and you're like, whoa, okay, I need to polish up here and there, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not just that you see your work, but the camera, everything falls flatter on camera, right? Nothing is as vibrant on camera. Lines aren't as sharp on camera. Gradients aren't as dense.
Yeah. Yep.
So what I found I needed to do and learn to do was make everything one step sharper, one step cleaner, one step more intentional. Have everything. It just requires another level of perfection to where every hair has to be in place. Otherwise, your eye just goes straight to the imperfection rather than.
Isn't that true?
Right. And so, that's annoying, but all right, well, then the goal is perfection. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until I needed to I needed to learn to showcase my work that I really got into the styling element of it.
Yeah. No, that's so important. And it's the same with makeup artists. What you see in person looks very different on camera. Like you can look like me. I think I'm put on makeup and I get on camera. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like you got to go above that and almost
yeah,
look like a clown in person to look
yeah.
like
I mean,
anything on camera.
the goal is to not have, because I mean the truth is I am doing this on clients. Like they're just my clients.
Yeah.
They're coming in.
Yeah.
So and this is where I will say, like, my goal is to always give a good haircut, right? And that's why I said, like, the styling really did come last, because for me, and I do think the way I cut, the way I've learned to cut, like when the style works is when the haircut is structurally has structural integrity, which means
Yes.
it is a good haircut. So I try my best to not like sacrifice haircut or sacrifice quality of haircut or wearability of haircut for content, because that was something that I feel like I would always see that in people's content, and sort of it would bug me as a barber saying, okay, I'm sure this looks interesting, but I can see there's just a lot of weight in this area, whether it's someplace on the head, and I totally get what the barber's doing, but and I see the intentionality in even, but how do you do that and have it be wearable?
Well, that's your clipper work, by the way, which leads me into the next question, is so nicely blended and clean, and your lines and sectioning with your shears are spot on, which for a barber, I think that's amazing. How do you decide on the perfect mix of clipper and scissor work, like for a haircut? As in, when do you put the clipper down and pick up the scissor? Whereas sometimes I see barbers, they use the clipper and it looks good. Doesn't mean it looks bad throughout, like the whole haircut.
And I should say I do use the clipper throughout. Like this, okay, let's say the stereotypical formula, I think, for barbers in my market, my kind of corner of the industry, which is kind of these more like hipster-ish, like barbershops kind of, is like clippers on the sides, scissors on top, right? And then if it's scissors on the sides, then it's like an all scissor cut, and that's like, I don't know, maybe a little harder or something, people think. But I mean, I do a lot of cutting, like, there's so many techniques, and people talk about these techniques like they're individual techniques, but you have a cutting tool and you have a comb, right? And either it's a scissor or it's a clipper or it's a trimmer, and then it's a comb, or sometimes it's a brush. So those are the two tools, and you can exchange either one of those at any given time. What I say is, if you're trying to cut the hair closer to the root of the hair, you're going to want to use a clipper, right? If you're trying to cut the hair closer to the end of the hair, you're going to want to use a scissor. But at the same time, I do a lot of really refining work with like a trimmer and my comb. To me, it feels like I think of hair very much like carpentry. So I'm going in and making these big, they call it like debulking, but these big chops, like these big actions, and cutting off, like carving in the main shape.
Yep.
And then it's the refinement process. And so I do a lot of refining, and to get the textures that I want out of the hair, it's not necessarily that clipper over comb gets me one texture and scissor over comb gets me another one. But that, just like you would, use different types of sandpaper to get something finer and finer. It's
different
the same
grades.
So I go over things multiple times with different tools, because different tools, what I see is they really just have different levels of precision.
Right.
And there's different ways of, like, different tools have different ways of attacking the hair, which just literally allows you to kind of get different angles, or the part behind the ear. Like I'm not going to use this scissor to clean out behind the ear because the trimmer is just easier for it.
Or easier and better and more precise.
Yeah. And then at the same time,
barber.
At the same time, like, I feel like it's sort of I don't know if it's a gimmick or something, but doing like a fade with a pair of scissors, I would say, is just not only is it unnecessary, but it's not the intention of the scissors, in the sense that nobody was doing skin fades until clippers came out. Like there was a time before clippers, there was a time before motorized clippers, all this stuff. I can't say I actually have researched the history, but I can't imagine a barber was sitting there in the 1930s doing skin fades with scissors. I just don't think
Right.
it was happening, right?
Or
Then
maybe a razor. They could have used a
that's,
razor.
that's true, but still to get the gradient, you know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
just
Sure.
that I don't think that skin fades came into the world until the tool of a clipper was created. So
I
why
mean,
would a
I
scissor
don't
be better?
think, I mean, it does. You're not wrong necessarily. I mean, I completely see what you mean. Why would you take the long road when you don't have to? A clipper is made for what it's made for.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah.
Is there a length or texture that you won't do, or are you open to all?
I'm open to all. What I
Like,
usually,
what if a black girl or guy rolled up into your shop with
yeah,
their like fro? Like,
yeah,
would
yeah,
you go? Because
I,
a lot of times with
yeah,
black people, you walk into a shop and they're like,
yeah,
"Oh yeah, sorry,"
yeah.
which kind of sucks. It's kind of
It does
shitty.
suck, and I think early on I just said I don't want that to be me.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you know what? The truth is, I think that kind of did happen once when I was a junior barber when I was very young, and
Mhm.
it felt like it felt like shit. I was like, I don't want to be somebody. I mean, that goes into a whole other thing about the barber industry. The how it is segregated and what elements of that
Divide it.
work and what elements don't work. But point being, yeah, my goal, I think, from a early on was to like I like the idea of the barber who, yeah, can be put in any situation and cut any hair. I think if you are a black man and there's a lot of cultural things, right? That's really the biggest thing is not even that somebody doesn't know how to cut a certain type of hair, but a haircut means different things culturally or in different
Oh
cultures,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I think it's true. It's in New York. If you walk into a lot of barbershops, you might end up getting like a really strong lineup or something, and you might
For
not want
sure.
that. But in certain barbershops, that's what a haircut is. That's just what it is, right?
It's true.
Um,
It's true.
and so
Yeah.
I try to understand those things more so than like I don't know, like study any. I guess when I'm trying to learn and expand my craft, I try to understand the different cultures of barbering, and then just apply what I already know to that. If
You
that
know
makes
what? Well said. And I appreciate you saying that. I have a multicultural clientele. There's not a texture that I don't do.
sense.
And that's just me, and I am not a black stylist, but I'm a stylist who happens to be black
Mm,
because I never wanted to be pigeonholed that way where I only did black hair. I already know how to do that. That's what I
mm,
have. I wanted to learn something else. And
yeah,
so I said, I don't want to turn any business away, to be quite honest. And I don't believe that hair is attached necessarily to an ethnicity
hmm.
because some of my Jewish clients, they have hair like me.
That's what I was gonna say. No, my brother, so that was the thing when I was a young kid. Kind of going back to the beginning, I was saying I had very straight hair. My brother had very curly hair, and when we were very young, he had dreadlocks just from him, just kind of like letting his hair, do what it does. So I totally agree with you, and that's why it is funny. It's like, yeah, I mean, I do have clients with big afros
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. And it has nothing to do with their ethnicity. I have
No, it
black
doesn't.
clients with straight hair. So it's like, so if we're talking race,
Yeah,
take that out of it because either you
and
know how to cut hair or you don't, right?
yeah,
In the
and
end.
and I think also a lot of my understanding of different textures of hair, come from, like I said, when I was younger, my hair was straight, and then it turned curly.
Yeah, I was gonna say your hair looks wavy now,
It's
or
actually
curly.
very curly. The longer it gets, I used to have it long and it's these big banana curls. But it was always it was a struggle for me to accept it because I really started to come into my identity as a kid with this straight hair in composition to my brother who had the very curly hair.
Yeah.
And so when I think it was then in like middle school, my hair started to get curly and I hated it. It was always
Now, parents, what's your background?
like
Are
what
you
like
just
I'm like a Jewish mother, Eastern European Jewish mother, and my father's like Irish Catholic kind of.
Gotcha? Because you know that our ethnicity does play into our hair texture.
Oh, totally. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's where you get your texture from,
It,
is
it's actually,
your ethnicity.
yeah. My texture probably actually comes. My hair is very much like my father's, and his is actually curly, which is interesting because it's the, I don't know, like the Irish more so. But I mean, I'm mixed. I'm just very mixed. I think overall.
For sure. Well,
But
texture is a good thing because it allows us to do more with our hair, for sure, right?
well, I always say this now, like so going back to when I was a kid, I looked up to people like Kurt Cobain. Do you know Kurt
Oh
Cobain
yeah, I
or
do.
Marilyn Manson? Like I was into rock music,
Oh
right?
yeah, he's creepy AF. That one.
But all these
Oh
people that I looked up to had straight hair. They all this like
yeah,
long straight hair, and this was early 2000s, right? And
yeah,
so that was just like the look was this like stringy
it's
black
true.
straight hair, and that's all I wanted. And so for growing up in high school and then into college, I would like straighten my hair. I remember relaxing my hair, like using the products like black women
Yeah.
would go and buy to relax their hair.
Yep.
Because I hated it. And it's so funny to me now. I mean, there's still a voice in the back of my head that always wishes my hair was a little less curly, a little more just like wavy, a little less curly or whatever. And it is 100, as a barber, I'll say it's 100% true that everybody wants what they don't have, right?
Oh, always,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Always.
But
Let's talk about your clients because you do that multicultural clientele. And this one, and like I said, your clients are wild and not wild. You know, like I say, you do such an eclectic mix of people. Your day must be the most interesting day. So let's talk about this young lady here.
you want like a real short taper like that?
Yeah, never gotten a low taper from a barber professionally. Do your magic.
These bitches love so oh and the no and fucking with
That is
them
so
old
good.
boss. You gon' get
So
fucked
freaking
over.
good.
Rarries and Rovers. These hoes are cheap so
Was she like the happiest client?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I really do make myself laugh. Like when I'm editing them, I'm cracking up. Like once I start laughing, I'm like, all right, I got something. And so for me, I don't know. I guess it very much just is my sense of humor, like having. And I don't know if you know like Chief Keef, but like everything always.
I know who that is.
I'm always like referencing things. So like they say it from Chicago, and then I do this photo of Chief Keef, and then the song at the end it goes back and it's Chief Keef, and it's like I'm always trying to. Something clicked for me because I guess when I started to do videos, there's so much content out there. There's so many barber creators out there. I didn't want to, not that I didn't want to look like anybody else, but I didn't want to offend my clients. I didn't want to like make fun of them,
Yeah.
I feel like I saw a lot of people who were like almost like making fun of their clients.
Isn't it horrible? It's cringe to me to watch people do that.
Look, I'm not going to judge how anybody runs their business. If it's working for them, that's fine. And I've even talked to barbers and they're like, and the truth is I probably pushed boundaries with my own stuff that at the beginning I would have said, oh, Soren, like, what are you doing? But like when I'm having fun with like when the energy's there and the truth is a lot of people that I do videos of are either they've been clients of mine for we're close, we've become so close over the years. But
no, I can see that they are open to it because they're, you create we're going to talk about your content creation a little later, but I can see they're open to it because they're on your comb microphone, which telling their own story. So, and this young lady came from Chicago. So, is that your client? Do they come from everywhere, or are mainly local?
This is actually a barber.
Oh,
who I know. This is my first time meeting them because they did come from Chicago. But this is a barber, and so it was great. We know each other through making content and stuff. So.
And I have to correct myself every time, Soren, on this show. Them, they, he, her, she. I'm always.
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I actually don't know.
I don't. Yeah, I try not to offend people. I'm like I have I will go with the flow, whatever that flow is.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I don't, some people are more obvious, but.
So tell me about this. Let's play the audio for a second as this landscaper truck.
I had white girl dress. No, I had white boy dress. I'll be dysphoric about it. I just remember being on acid, standing up in a room full of people, and I'm like, it's just a dumb little hat, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty, but I'm loco. The loud got me moving slow-mo. Hey, yo, Tweety, where the hoes, bro? Hey, yo, Keys, where the hoes, though? That other nigga, he a bozo. It's a...
Yeah, so this client, let's talk about like...
Yeah, so no, I mean, this is she. Yeah,
Okay.
so this is my friend Maxell, who's literally one of my oldest friends. We grew up together. She's a trans woman, and I don't know, we met each other when she was the first person I think I ever smoked weed with,
So that's why, because I was going to ask you that, like when she said, I was on acid, and it's like you didn't even flinch. And me, I'm like with my old ass, I'd be like, what?
I've done a lot of acid with this person.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. So I was like, is that normal? Or so that's why she could have so much fun in your chair. Okay.
I mean, that's who she is in general. You know what I mean? And she does, she had a podcast, and, she's, a media person, maybe, influencer in her own right. And so it was fun to link up after all these years, because we don't see each other that often anymore. So it was fun to link up and almost collaborate on a video,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And with her haircut, the picture you showed in the video, the inspo pic was
the Chelsea.
Yeah, the Chelsea, which I never even heard of.
Okay. So the Chelsea cut is it's known probably mostly from England.
Okay.
In the 70s into the 80s, there was the Oi movement. So I just want to make sure when I say skinhead, we're not talking about Nazi skinheads, but it was a music movement which did have split up into kind of a racist movement at some point. But there are many non-racist skinheads. That is, it was a British working class movement. It was a British working class social movement that had music and culture and hair and haircuts, and still resonates in a lot of popular music. Even from a lot of Brit rock, right? I don't know who are the Jonas Brothers British?
No, I don't think they're British, but the Hanson.
Hanson wasn't, but Oasis,
whatever,
bands Oasis. I don't know if you know Oasis and stuff still
yeah.
Oi music, or this kind of pub rock sort of stuff.
And you're calling it Oi?
Oi was the music and the movement. OI, okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to research that and do some homework on that. I love that there are two versions of skinheads. That interests me in particular.
There's a really good movie actually called, I think it's called This Is England.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of about a group of skinheads, and then that kind of, let's say, a Nazi kind of infiltrates in a way, if I remember right, and starts kind of like, it just shows how this culture, there was many movements within this culture, and it did, because of political reasons, just like we see today, once like, nationalism starts to get involved, because like I said, it was a working class movement, right? So, I mean, just like today, the working class often gets politicized into racism.
No, you're correct. Like now the flag somehow is a symbolism of racism. Like it's super crazy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this client of yours. And again, nailed it like to the T.
Your parents must be very proud.
Where are you coming from today?
Coming from all the way from Istanbul, Turkey.
It's a long way to come for a haircut.
I'm in the hands of best barber, so it's worth it.
Facts. Do you have anybody that you look to when you look for your hair, when you look for your clothes?
I want them to look up to me.
So what are we doing today?
A low fade with like a little texture on the top. I want an A for the LP.
We're gonna do a little design. This is a surprise, folks. Designs are not my specialty, but we're gonna make it happen. That's what barbering's all about. Say something in Turkish for us.
Kafama koydum olacağım ben bir efsane, efsane, efsane.
All right, let's go.
So with this one, like I say, I pulled it because you nailed it. 1, 2, I saw all the things. I saw deep point cutting. I saw clipper work. You got designs, you got scissors, you got, a fringe along with the fade. I mean, it's all the things. And it's somebody that comes in and as you're talking to him and you're looking at obviously his hair, grown out hair, are you already mapping that out? Like, I know that's what we do as stylists.
Yeah.
But is there anybody
100%.
that trips you up where they sit down, show you a picture, and you're like, okay, let me think, or is it just like, boom, got it?
Yeah, it's a wild process, and I'll say this whole thing of now filming myself has brought it to another level where I'm not even thinking about the haircut. Like I have to trust my hands because I don't want to say I'm not thinking about the haircut, but I have to rely on a whole other level of instinct. And sometimes it is like shutting my brain off and just letting my hands do what they know to do.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to get at. Like, are you on autopilot at this point, or do you still, because sometimes things trip us up, no matter how much experience we have, and you go, wait weird. A minute, this one.
I have a resistance to saying I go on autopilot because it's not autopilot, right? It's a hyper. It's it's locked in. It's in the flow or whatever we want to call it. Well, I see it, and I think for anybody that is cutting hair, especially when it comes to clipper work and this blending type stuff, I'm always using more of a peripheral vision. You're switching, right? You're switching between your hyper focus and you're saying, okay, this is the hair I need to cut right here. But if you're always in hyper focus, you're not going to see the bigger picture, right? And when it comes to the final showcase styling, like these things, it's always about looking at it with my peripheral vision, with my peripheral eye, being able to hone in on exactly what is out of place and then zooming in, right? And so it's this constant like in, out, while I'm also keeping track of not only where, like, okay, I want to capture this hair falling off in this motion or, in this action from this angle. So
really your social media has made you better, made you a better
100%, 100%, a million, if I like a billion %, because not only am I documenting everything so that I can kind of go back and look at stuff and hone in and say, oh yeah, I really need to work on my C cups or something. But it's given me the reason. Like, if you don't have a reason to get better, you're not really gonna, if
Oh,
you're
that's
not.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And with your content creation, let's get into that now. So, how did you start like creating videos, and what was your process? So making them so engaging. Did you just look at other people's and say, you know what, I'm gonna do what because you're doing what nobody is doing, in my opinion. That's why you stand
Oh,
out.
really? Oh, okay. Well,
I think so.
Okay, and I want to ask you more about that because I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you my whole process. So I started off. I mean, it's gonna be. Is it okay if it's a long?
Yeah,
it's gonna
yeah,
turn.
absolutely.
So I've been a teacher and an educator within the company of Fellow Barber. And I decided I wanted to step down from that. I didn't do my own thing. I wanted to build something that was mine, and so that's when I decided I was like, okay, I'm going to do a YouTube channel, right? Because when I started cutting hair, YouTube was just starting to become a thing for hair. But it was a place that I learned a lot. So I felt like I wanted to contribute. Okay, that's where I'm going to go. That's where I learned. That's where I'm going to go. So I started filming some stuff, and I do actually have like one YouTube video up. I started filming some stuff and just kind of, I don't know, I was just jumped into it. Okay, I'm going to film. I got my friend.
So you started on YouTube.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And then I met some people who run a company called The New Era of Barbering, where they basically teach you how to be a content creator. And so I explained to them, I was like, yeah, I'm starting on YouTube. And they were like, no, that's not how you do it. Like, you're going to burn yourself out on YouTube. And it's 100% true what the advice they gave me. They were like, you're going to burn yourself out on YouTube, and you're not going to grow an audience, and you're going to waste a lot of time. And so I kind of had a meeting with them about how they, what they do. And I have my brother runs a program for tattoo artists that felt similar to me. Like, I had a point of reference, because what these people are doing is pretty amazing. Like, I could tell you 100 people about it, and a lot of people wouldn't be interested, because it's kind of like, I think it's honestly too fucking, sorry for
No, you can cuss.
Okay,
this
cool.
This is a podcast. Cuss.
What these people are doing, like the mindset shifts that I went through while taking their program and continue to learn from these people, was just tremendous in my vision for what was possible. And I had to have that vision of what was possible in order to put in the amount of work that was required, because it's been a huge amount of work, right? But it was work that all was in the right direction, right? Because I don't know, I'm sure any endeavor you've taken on, if you can start off and you can have all this energy and be putting in the work, like I was with the YouTube thing. But if you're going a million miles an hour and you're 1 inch off target, that's going to be many miles off by the time you hit the target, right?
It'll derail you. Yes,
exactly. So yeah. So, I think the best thing I can just say is, like, I knew I needed to learn something new. And then I went and I found the people that were going to teach me. And I had to really apply the same things that I told my students when I was teaching them, which is like, this might be hard. For the students, when I was teaching, it was always about getting models, right? I think, or any barber or stylist, getting models is tough. You got to bring in a model for class, blah, blah, blah. But I said, look, you only got to do so many models and you're going to learn it, right? And if you just do one after, just do it each time you get a model, just know you're that much closer. And so, I said, okay, doing all this stuff might be uncomfortable. It was really hard to ask my clients to film at first. And I think that's probably the thing that's holding probably 90% of people back who maybe want to be doing stuff on social media, but aren't, is just that they're afraid of asking their clients, right? And so I really had to, there had to be many, I'm going to say mindset shifts that had to go on, of me understanding how I want to run my business from now on. And understanding that I'm going to invite all of my clients to be in on what I'm doing because I'm having fun doing it. And I want to share that with them. And when I come at it with that energy of like, hey guys, like, yo, I'm doing this thing. I'm in this. And I would tell them everything. Yo, all right. So I'm in this program and they want me to be doing this and blah, blah. And they want, and it's like, all right, cool, man. Yeah, let's do it. Like, you know,
how long ago did you take the program?
I started in February. February is when I
This
started.
year?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I post every day because that's what they told me to do.
That is awesome. And
Yeah.
tell us the program again, if you
Yeah.
don't mind
Yeah, it's
sharing.
called the New Era of Barbering. And
Gotcha.
yeah, if you'll find them. The Deluxe is the guy, my coach, Michael De Jesus. Anybody can message me. I will link you up with him. He's a great guy.
Well, I don't know who else is taking this program, but again, on my feed, it's you. So
So that's why, because to me, I'm like, I followed a freaking formula. You know, I want to say I obviously add my own taste, and that's my own style and my own, you know, and then I really try to showcase the people. I think that's, for me, I'm the barber. I'm the objective observer, you know, like I'm there to make you look hot. I'm there to do what you want me to do and give you my twist on it, my advice. But like I'm not
curious. I'd be curious to know, Soren, what your clients think as far as the end results have gotten better for them. So it feels like to me it's a win-win because you said because you started creating content, you're more hyper aware of the end result and
100%.
what you're seeing on camera. So they've got to be, you know, okay with that part.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't. I'm trying to think if I've had any clients that I've had like a bad experience or something. I mean, I don't know. As a barber, you're always managing people's expectations and you're managing their satisfaction and you're managing all these things. So none of that is different, whether I'm filming somebody or not. Like, we're in it together. If they're ever uncomfortable with the process, I try to create space for them to say that. If they're uncomfortable with the video, like, yeah, I've had people ask me to take videos down, not even ones that were particularly like outrageous or anything. Just sometimes I get it, and that's somebody's image, and if they want me to take it down,
do you make them sign a release? And if so, even still, how much time are you taking now outside of, you know, because time is money. So how much time are you taking now that you have to carve out? You know what I'm saying?
So I don't do any release forms. I mean, I shoot a video. My days, this is my business. This is my life. I don't know. My hair is my life. What can I say? Like,
yes, it is.
I'm 35 years
now
old.
part of the process.
I don't have any kids. I'm like, I'm, you know, I wake up, I start editing video, and then I post it, and then I'm at work and I'm editing between clients. I'm editing on my lunch break. I'm posting on my lunch break.
But when you're during your work day,
yeah,
are you adding, because obviously to film, at least that's where I fell off with trying to film what I do behind the chair. I'm like, I don't have time. Right. So you have to actually, right? Because it's going to take a little more time per client.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you know, I play a little Tetris with my schedule, as you know, everybody knows, and that's how I like to do it in general. Because my, I mean, look, a lot of my clients are not eccentric, you know, and that's what you mentioned too. Like, yeah, a lot of, and I think I got to edit a video and see if I have time to post it today, even. But yeah, like a friend, you know, a guy is just a classic haircut, and that is something that I do. Yes, I pride myself on it. Fuck it. Like I have the foundational integrity so that when I do creative stuff, it's still solid, it's still wearable, it's still usable, it's still functional, and it's still, in my eye, like, you know, I think there are people who might say that like a haircut is subjective, right?
Yes.
And I don't know if I 100% agree with that, in the sense that at least I know for me, I have certain standards for my haircuts. I might not know exactly what it's going to look like at the end of the day, but if there's an opportunity, what I know how good a haircut can look, and if I
Correct.
see an opportunity to elevate it, I'm going to take it. And if I see somebody else's haircut and I see an opportunity in it where I would have elevated it, I'm going to take their haircut. Yeah.
I
No.
love it. I love it. No, that makes perfect sense. Absolutely. So let's move on to your haters. Oh my Lord. You have thick skin, I swear, because I just looked at this particular video here, right? Because of the face tats. That's why I
Mhm.
looked. And then
Mhm.
once I started to listen to, the audio, I thought, oh, wow, this is interesting. I wonder, with someone like this, she knows she's going to draw attention,
Mhm.
whether good or bad or otherwise, right? So when you are in the comments and this person in particular, I'm like, I don't have the stamina. I
Yeah.
would fail. I would probably run with my tail between my legs. But you go straight in, and now I think I understand why, because you said this person you grew up with. So now you're defending your friend, not just your client, which I'm sure you do that too. But
Yeah. I mean, well, I want to say with this video too, like I was and am still sort of like in close communication with Maxell about this post, right? Meaning,
okay,
like I said from the beginning, like, it's a shared post between the two of us. And I don't know. I guess, this stuff can be helpful to other people. And just how do this is all sensitive stuff. Every post has the possibility of going viral for a wrong reason, right? Every
sure.
post does.
Yep.
But I think we both went into this, like, yeah, Maxell is a interesting person,
Yeah.
and yeah, she has the face tattoos. That she's not hiding from anybody, but at the same time, she's not immune to uh being targeted, right?
Sure.
And so there's a lot of stuff that we talked about, and yeah, I try to take everything as a learning opportunity. Um, yeah, and it's weird when you see how things in life start to like kind of return. Like I actually
Mhm.
minored in like gender studies in college.
Oh,
Um, so I don't know exactly how that always like comes into play now, but obviously like if I do have a certain language, right? I have a certain knowledge of a certain language or certain taboos or something, and certain boundaries, and so I think that helps me navigate people, all over the board, not just across gender, but also like we
for
talked
sure.
earlier about race. Like I said, I'm interested in cultures. I'm interested in different cultures. And when I want to understand a person, I want to understand the culture beneath them, whether
For
that's
sure.
identity politics or racial politics or just politics or just religion, right? I studied a lot of religion, and these things just I find them interesting to me because they help me understand people, right? So for that
Oh,
same
yeah,
reason,
for sure.
I mean, I haven't even done it yet, but I could reach out to my church friends and have
Yeah.
them on the channel as well. Like, it very well might happen, you
Yeah,
know? And
absolutely.
I want people to have empathy for the people who I'm showcasing. And I want, so I guess my point is, I don't think even in that clip, I don't think I necessarily made fun of the person commenting. I just revealed to them that you're saying you're posing yourself as above us because we're having a certain conversation that you're saying when you hear that conversation, you just check out. You don't even give a fuck. But yet here you are in the comments for days
Given a
arguing.
F.
Now,
Yes.
my position here, and this is just the truth, I benefit from good and bad comments, right? I mean, it gets my work, my page, my stuff out there, right? Now, I'm not trying to, and again, this is why I think from the beginning I was just try to be in close contact with my friend and say like, hey, if there's any comments on this, like you can delete them. If you want me to disable the comments, we can disable them. Let me know, because I'm not trying to run my business off shock value. I want it all. I want it to be shocking. I want it to be intriguing. I want it to be amazing work. I want it to be technically impressive. I want everything.
Sure.
But yeah, I think maybe I do have a bad tendency of going onto people's profiles.
Well, that's what I was getting at. That's what I was getting at, just in general, not necessarily.
Totally. I grew up in New York.
This particular post, but just in general, do you think your haters deserve so much of you in the comments where they can get you to go back and forth, toe to toe?
Yeah.
For you, like when Soren is with himself, and you're looking at this.
I appreciate. I know.
Do you understand what I mean? Are you just like, you know what? Since we're cussing on here, motherfucker, like I can't, and you're not even worth it. Or is it always let me go in?
It's a lot of mindset things that had to shift, because again, this is the mindset that all press is good press, right? And I've seen this is my mindset of all of it, and I'm not necessarily on that level. I don't necessarily believe all press is good press, right? I'm not trying to get all press, but this video was an authentic interaction between me and a friend of mine, right? Yeah. And we talked about the things that we're going to talk about, and I put stuff in there that was authentic to her, and was my authentic interaction with her. And stuff that I thought was intriguing, and stuff that I knew people who the video was targeted for would understand and relate to.
Yeah.
So yes, when all of that is aligned, I can stand there and say, "Hey guys, what are you guys so fucking pissed about?" And then and I think I do have maybe I think just from being in New York and growing up, around a bunch of rowdy people, you tend to read people. So I'll go into their profile and say, well, look, bro, you're calling this guy, it's another one where a guy called another friend of mine creepy. And I go into the guy's profile and he's got these weird eyebrows. And it's like, I don't even need to say anything. You look like you're painting on your eyebrows. Like, who are you calling creepy? Look, everybody's extremely interesting. That's really the truth. Everybody's so freaking interesting. And everybody lives in denial about something. And it's true that we get read, and then people say, oh, well, you're this, and we could do it to each other all day. And it's a lot of fun, But,
I mean, as I get further into content creation, I know eventually they say you haven't made it until they start giving you hater comments. Yeah. And I'm like, oh no, not the hater. I just,
but it's
I'm not ready for that.
The technical stuff I'm confident in. Like if somebody points out a mistake in my haircut or something, I know I gave it 110%. And I also know, because here's the thing, once I started doing this shit, I stopped critiquing. I stopped being so judgmental of other creators, right? There were so many things I was judgmental about until I started doing it. And now when I see anybody putting their work online, I'm like, hell yes,
champion,
go for it, do it. See, and then once I really started to get into it, and again, there's all these little mindset shifts that happen. Then you start to notice how other people actually might leave a little mistake in a haircut just so the comment sections go crazy, right?
That's true. I see that too, but it's obvious.
I don't know. Look, people are. This is what I'm saying. Until I'm immersed in this culture now, in the culture of barber content, right? And I'm gonna say, because I fucking love every barber I've met on this journey, has been amazing. We are all extremely smart people, and I sit in Zoom calls with these barbers, and I'm saying, you got to understand, there's, when they say the new era of barbering, there's this company that I've been working with,
it is definitely that
they're doing amazing stuff. So I'm just saying, when I started to see how much stuff on social media was intentional that I took as unintentional, you just let a lot of stuff go, I guess, because it's people, it's engagement. And you know what? I'm already working on my next video. So even if someone does, if you don't like yesterday's video, I'm already about to post today's video.
Oh my God, that is perfect. That sums it up in a nutshell, pretty much.
Yeah.
What, Soren, is the best piece of advice that you received in your career? And what advice would you give new barbers who are just starting out? Do you have anything that, because, you know, I got to talk to my audience who are the newbies.
Yeah. I think there's something that's resonating with me a lot now, which is in my career right now, which is a guy, I can't remember if it's Los Cuts or Los Cut It. There's two amazing barbers. One is Los Cut It and one is Los Cuts, and I can't remember which one it is. But I heard him talking, and it was just about how it's time to move on when everybody's learning from you and you're not learning from anybody around you. You know, when you're the one teaching everybody and there's no one else for you to learn from, that's when it's time to move on. So that's something that's just been, you know, in my space a lot.
That's a really good piece of advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
And what was the other one? Advice for like
new barbers who are just starting out.
Yeah. God, I mean, you know, it's tough because I really, on one hand, I want to say start posting, start doing content, start all stuff. On the other hand, I want to say lock in, put your head down, cut a bunch of hair. And the truth is, do both, right? Like, I'll say always document your haircuts, take pictures, share them with other barbers, get advice, ask for help, just like as much as you can. Just always get obsessed with it. Like, get obsessed with cutting hair. And if you feel like it's right to start, you know, posting on social media, I say this: if you want to start posting on social media, start doing it. Right? If it excites you, if it is fun, and you want to do that, start doing it.
And would you recommend the good, the bad? Doesn't matter. Just put it on there, and eventually you just get better. How much thought do you need to put into, like, if you're not on there at all and you're just getting started?
Let's put it like this. It's literally like when it's the same thing like learning anything. If you're just doing haircuts and you're not learning from each one you do, then in a month, in a year, 2 years, you're going to be in the same place, right? If you're not studying other haircuts, if you're not comparing your haircuts to other people's haircuts, if you're not, you know, I mean, in this day and age, there's so many people online teaching you how to edit video, how to do lighting, how to do whatever that, you know, whatever it is you want to learn, you can learn it. So yes, start with the bad if you're putting in the work to get better. And you can incorporate social media into that. It can't, like I said, I mean, I think I was thought of as a good barber within my community, but I surprised myself once I gave myself that reason to start styling and start pushing myself and then documenting. And it became a huge part. It was definitely what took me to the next level. And I think it can help you get from any level to any other level. But always be comparing, not like in a detrimental way.
Not in an unhealthy way.
Right.
Yeah, but you got to measure yourself against something. Yeah.
You got to be building your eye for what works, right? If you're doing haircuts and you have the system and you can take clean sections, but you don't know what you want that final haircut to look like at the end, there's going to be stuff off with it. There's going to be awkward bits. There's going to be stuff that just isn't working. And it's the same with anything, right? If you're making content, you're taking photos and you're not always optimizing and looking at other people who are getting better results to adjust. And I also want to say, you got to be having fun with it. Like, if I wasn't having fun with it, I would not be doing it, at least not to the extent that I am. You know, if I wasn't cracking myself up every day when I'm editing and then posting and then like waiting for my friends to like comment. And be
No,
like, "Oh,
it clearly comes through the screen that you're having a ball. Let me
Thank
tell you.
thank you."
What are your future goals, Soren? Like what are your future goals for your career and your content?
Yeah, that's oh man, great question. I have a lot of goals. I'm already starting to work on some in-person classes in New York City with a friend of mine. And she's a new friend, so this is a problem when you know people off Instagram for before in person. I don't know if it's Marie or Mary DeMonte, but we are working on some in-person education classes together, which I'm super stoked on. Like in-person hands-on education is like the first thing that got me into teaching and stuff, so I love to do it. And content wise, I have a lot of ideas. I like I honestly want to go really big. Like I have this vision in my head of like a makeover show.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
incredible.
like I always loved, I don't know, I grew up with like they were just such a big thing, I guess, back even from like Pimp My Ride, right? Like even like this thing of like, okay, how do
Queer
we
eye for the queer eye for the straight
Queer Eye for
guy.
the Straight Guy. Exactly. Yeah. Or MTV had the show MTV Made back in the day, right?
Oh yeah, I
And
remember.
so it was always what I see it as is always about an internal transformation and an external transformation, right? Usually there's some goal that we also want to help somebody achieve, and they
Right.
need right. So I actually grew up in the world of like coaching. My brother's a financial coach. My father is actually like a spiritual coach. And so I do have a bit of that in me where it comes in barbering too. Like I like to take somebody who doesn't see what I see and show them what I see, not just in, I don't want to say what's wrong, but like what's not working, but also in what could be working, right? Just like when I'm teaching a student to cut hair, it's not just about what they're doing that isn't working, but they have to build their eye of what a good haircut can be. They don't have it. So I need to share with them my vision of what it can be, have them try it on until they feel it, right? So I'm just saying with my thing is like with personal style, I think it's actually very similar. And I think I come from a music scene where style was always huge, like how you dressed, how your hair was, all these things. And I know it's hard for a lot of guys, obviously a lot of people, but mostly guys, I think my age, to then almost like transition into a more adult, refined version of that style, right?
Right.
So it's like, how do we
Yes.
honor the fact, like who we are, but also like, look, say like, what is style, right? To me, style, personal style is just about showing what's important to you, what you value through your presentation, right?
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and there is that element of taking something from the internal and putting it external, right? Now, when we do it too much, or when I see people, and it's tough. It is. Look, I'll tell you, somebody's living their truth is visually not that different from somebody who's caught up in other people's opinions,
True. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
and that's why it is, because I've gone through styles and worn things that I was super adamant about, and looking back, I'm like, man, I was doing that just because I wanted to impress this person or these people, and that can be a fun game as well when we
Yeah,
know we're playing it, right? Dress up,
absolutely.
fit in with the cool kids, all this can, just like you were saying, like with arguing with the people
Yeah,
on Instagram, like, cool, that gets my engagement up and people come and like the comments and all that stuff, but I don't want it to take over my life. So it's like, how do we have a healthy
absolutely.
relationship with style to where we're saying, okay, I feel like, that part in us that needs to feel unique is being honored, right? But we also just look like a trustworthy adult, maybe, let's say, right?
Yes.
Like somebody who can show up to the job, because part of being an adult is being able to fit in, right? Not always
Right.
needing to be the loudest in the room.
Sure.
It's this give and take, right? So it's about that balance. And so I think it's just something that in my life I've gone through every iteration. I've been the loudest dresser in the room. I've had the craziest hair, and then I've gone 2 years of just wearing blue jeans and a white t-shirt, and probably still for the most part,
Well, you can do that now because you've established who you are. And when you get to that point where you know exactly who you are, then after that, it's like, well, I don't need you guys anymore for approval. Like, I already know
and the style
what
just
I'm
starts to
capable
come.
of. I can see that you can inspire and that you're seeing past the skill and you're actually looking at the person learning the skill, which makes a true educator, in my opinion. And so I wish you all the best in your journey that I know will be successful, because if you can see it, you can achieve it.
Very true.
Right? Stay
Yeah.
tuned, everyone. Well, Soren, I love this part of the show because I do this rapid fire that I call the 60-second blowout. Corny AF, but I still love it. And I'm going to keep calling it that.
Corny
So-
works good for media. That's what I found, right? You got to have a
Oh,
little cheese
I
on it.
love it. Because I am growing, like I say, I feel like an underdog right now because I am so new to
Mhm.
social media and I'm trying to do something so big. I'm trying to get the attention of those that are more successful.
Yeah.
And I am always impressed when I get good feedback or I get feedback at all, because it shows me who the person is,
Mm. Yeah.
And so I will say again on camera how much I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me today.
Yeah. Thank you.
It means the world. All righty. So are you ready? And you don't know what I'm going to ask you, and you got a minute to answer. So just let it fly. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me set the
It's multiple
timer.
questions or it's one question?
It's more than one question.
Okay. Okay.
I'll just keep asking until the minute is up. Okay. Ready.
Mhm.
What's your favorite grooming product?
The Tomb 45 texture powder.
Beard or clean shaven?
Beard.
Favorite sports team? Whiskey or beer?
I don't drink.
Favorite type of music?
Rap currently.
If you could cut anyone's hair, alive or dead, who would it be?
It'd be Shia LaBeouf.
Steak or seafood?
Oh man. I think I eat seafood more often, but like a nice good steak is awesome.
Best vacation spot?
I don't know. You tell me. I don't go on vacation, so
Fly, drive, or walk?
walk.
Morning or night person?
Morning.
All right, you got it. And then the last thing I ask, make your silliest selfie face. See, that always shows me how humble somebody is, because some people are like, no, like, I just want to look pretty. Like,
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. Getting on social media and just totally just like putting it's just like whatever, my image doesn't totally feel mine anymore, I guess. But
no, you are doing an incredible job, and I will continue to follow your journey and watch, and hopefully somewhere later down the line, you can be a return guest.
yeah, definitely.
With even more fun
your
stories. And
your
yeah,
questions are great.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, appreciate you, and you have the most amazing week.
You too.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.